Right, guys, I must be brutally honest with you. I am not organised for this, but we have a bit of a double header beyond the what coming your way today, guys. Now, this is one of two. If you haven't watched in the other order, it probably doesn't matter too much anyway. But anyway, we are here to talk about Negan and Alpha. Now, we're going to start with Negan. Just give me a second. I'm going to attempt to find any questions related to Negan that have been asked. I've kind of got an idea of what I want to say. Do you think Negan could ever be a normal member of one of our groups? Has too much happened from both sides? That is a very good question. Now, this is basically what this Beyond the What is premised around. Do I think he has changed? Do I think he could change more? Do I think he could be a part of what we're building? I'm going to give you short form answer and then long form answer, just so that all of you that are on the edge of your seat waiting for an answer, you get it. Yes. A lot of you probably like, damn, but I said that kind of quickly, you know, like, what happened to this whole I ain't ever forgiving him nonsense or gibberish? Now, if you've seen all my reactions, if you're new, maybe you haven't, but if you've seen around the start of season 7 kind of time, let's be honest, I was very firm in the belief that I will never, ever, ever like or forgive this fella. Yes, a lot has changed. Two of the biggest things that have changed with me are my morality and what I'm willing to tolerate from people I care about, say actions and decisions, and what I'm willing to do as a survivor and what I'm willing to tolerate in the apocalypse. How often I'm willing to put morality aside. So that's one of the biggest changes, right? And I think one of the other biggest changes is my ability to want to understand people has kind of gone like this. So I think right at the start, I was almost like wanting to know everything about everyone, wanting to understand the morality, wanting to understand why, wanting to understand all of it, which, funnily enough, the more I look back at that now, the more I think that I still want that logic because it means so much. And the crazy thing is, right, is Negan himself, or maybe so not just Negan. There was a little bit of me with the governor, which didn't really want to know, but with Negan, it was like, I don't want to know. He initiated that hate, like the redness, right? I didn't want to see anything or hear anything, or he would crack a joke, I would frown. I even got criticised in my comments. Bruh, how is this guy not laughing at Negan's jokes? They're so funny. Brother, I didn't want to hear anything to do with him. I wanted no part of him. I wanted that man dead, right? That's as blatant and blunt as possible. The crazy thing is the arc for me. I believe this is fit perfectly in the story and how we're supposed to view this. You see Rick's, right? His morality's up here. He streamlines downwards. He gets to a point when he probably couldn't be more immoral than his conscience would allow. Then Carl happens, then the message changes, and then boom, he's willing to see things slightly differently again. I feel like the exact same thing has happened to me, goddammit. Because my whole viewpoint on what, like, understanding him and going forward has changed drastically. Where do I think I changed? What do I think initiated the change for me? Probably Carl. You know what character I think is massively underrated for changing some my viewpoint or the way I view things is Dwight, and how symbolic Dwight actually was. It's kind of weird because obviously he's not the only reason that I'm changing my mind on things, but when we first got Dwight, I also hated him, and I think I noticed in myself that it was like, damn, why is there so much hate? Why is there so little want to read people anymore? What's changed? I can't remember what it was which made me realise it, but I just started feeling so angry with the show. There was actually, funnily enough, there was a point when someone said to me, I don't know if I can keep watching your reactions because they're like depressing. Like I'm not, my mood is like, I'm just so like, you know, which I didn't apologise for because I was like, look, that's just my natural way of how things are going. That's just how I feel watching this at the moment. Something happened. I don't remember what it was. Something happened and my mind changed. It may have been an episode with Dwight, the way Negan was treating him, or it may have been, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but Dwight for me symbolised like the epitome of don't judge a book by its cover. And the reason I say that, yes, Dwight did some shit things, but he was forced into a position where he had no choice, Well, he had a choice, but it's an impossible choice, you know. It's a choice that most people wouldn't be able to make differently. If you're put in a position where the only thing you can do to protect the person you care about is wrong, what are you going to do? Let them die? What are you going to do? Sacrifice the situation you are living in right now and be forced out into the wild? You know, what are you going to do? In the moment when you're presented with that, it's actually more of, you know, it probably is more easier of a decision than you think. But you're probably not going to pick what you think. Do you know what I mean? So I think Dwight for me symbolised so much about that change for me of, oh damn, like what I really like judged the shit out of this guy, and then I felt guilty, and then I felt all these different things, and that then spread. I remember there was a period when I was like, okay, alright, so my hate isn't like saviors, my hate is Negan. So when all the people around Negan, I started thinking to myself, oh, bar Simon, let's take that asshole out of the picture. Everyone else, I started thinking about why, and then I started thinking about how like it would be easy to win the war theoretically, and blah 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 blah. So that was the chain reaction. Then it progressed, then it progressed, then it progressed, then it progressed. Then I see how he is around Carl. I see a bit more. I hear about his backstory with Gabriel. You know, you start giving us little pieces of the puzzle, little teasers. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And I fell so in love with Carl's vision, the decision to keep him alive, and then, you know, then we see what Negan's like without his purpose. Then we see what Negan can be without his purpose. We see a little glimpse of it beforehand, and I remember I used to always say stuff like, oh my god, like, he kind of gives me the vibe like he'd be a good dad, or oh my god, he kind of gives me this, or he kind of gives me that, but then I hate this part of him, and I hate that part of him, but, you know, I kind of can see, like, Negan from before shining through, do you know what I mean? But then it's sort of now, we're sort of seeing him purposeless, and we're at a point where I'm like, can I see him going forward? You know, like, I see him, I said this in the last episode, if you haven't seen it, I'll repeat it. I see him as a brand new character. Negan isn't Negan from season 7 through 8 anymore to me. Negan is brand new Negan. Negan is different purpose Negan. Negan is just being Negan. More of who he is coming out when he doesn't have to be someone for somebody else. You know, it's almost like he had to suppress the good in him. He had to suppress who he was to allow for Negan to take the light. You know, like Split, when you had the characters take the light and take turns. I felt like Negan was just like the Beast, and he had crowded that seat, and everyone else was pushed to the back. You know, they didn't get a pick to come back into the light. They have to be like sort of forced into it, or what. That's what it feels like. That's the analogy I'm gonna make. So now we see the other personality. We don't see Negan. I wish he had... You know what? I kind of wish Negan wasn't his real name. And the reason I say that is because if he had a different name, maybe I'd start referring to him by a different name, like his name. You know, like the governor, what was his name again? Was it Philip? I kind of wish we had that, because it's almost like the word Negan is so associated. It's got so many negative connotations now, eh? Like, that's how amazing the writing is. We have been traumatized by that name. But yeah, so now, anyway, this brings me kind of semi-full circle. Now we're at a point where we have to make a decision. We don't even have to make it now, really, because he's put himself back in the position of giving us the choice, the power. You know, he's back in the prison, right? He wants to go there. I think he's learned to grow accustomed to the idea of not having to be someone for someone else, and he wants to see where that takes him. He doesn't know where his life leads. You know, he could have killed himself if he really thought there was nothing less. So now we have a choice. Luckily, thank goodness we don't have to make a choice on the spot, because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be ready to make the choice. But it has been a long time. He has and will have changed, and now we get an opportunity to see, like, can he become a valued member of our group? Undoubtedly, he will prove himself, and I still have a theory that he will in some way save Judith, and it will prove his worth, and even if he can't be a part of the community, maybe he can go out and be better for the world. Do you see where I'm coming from? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know whether there will be a time when people can accept him as a part of the groups, because of what he's done and how many people he's hurt, and how many people he's traumatized for his purpose, which a lot of people still probably don't agree with. As much as I'm now viewing it as less of a selfish purpose and more of he almost sacrificed the good in him to be the villain to protect what he thought was what was left, right? Which he didn't understand what was left, or he didn't really know what could be still around, sort of thing. But anyway, I don't know how many people are around that would be okay with him being accepted into the community. I don't think that's really the point. I think the point is, screw the whole in our community part, right? If we can let him out into the world, then he could be a part of our community. If we're willing to let him out into the world and go off and potentially be a savior again, if we're willing to risk that, then we're willing to have him in our communities. So we don't even need to talk about that. We just need to talk about, is there a life outside of a cell for Negan? And the reason I say yes, I said yes at the start because of the tangent, 13-minute tangent I've just been on. The reason I say yes is because I think that Carl's message has changed him. Not just Carl's message, but I think he has seen what we've built. I think him going out and trying to re-survive again, realizing how well we have done to protect ourselves from what's outside, right? Because he was doing the same thing, it just was manifested in a different way. He's now seeing a different product of survival, and he's now like, almost like him going out, he's almost realizing like, this is what could have been. I honestly think he'll feel guilty. I think at some point he'll be like, I thought I was doing all that could be done. I thought that I was doing the only thing that would keep things moving, and I did it because I thought that's all that there was. That's what I think's going to happen. I do not believe that Negan did the things he did purely because he's a psychopath. I don't think he is a psychopath. I genuinely feel like he put on that personality and he did the things he did because he felt like that was the only way that he could protect what was left, even though he was protecting a very small portion of what could be left, and he ended up sacrificing it all because, like, his plan didn't work because we came along and it caused disruption and his place fell. So even just because it was us doesn't, whatever, his plan failed, right? And I'm sure he's been thinking about that for the last 6 or 7 years. So I think him going out and seeing this, he's like, wow. Not just seeing what we've built, but also hearing what Rick did in order to protect. But Rick was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. And as far as everyone's concerned, he did. To protect the good things left in life. It wasn't just about surviving. It was about building a future that everyone wanted to live in and be a part of. And building a future for his child and his partner and everyone he cares about. Building a future worth living in. And I think I think Rick, in doing what he did, he painted a picture to everyone of what that meant. And I think the vision has been as clear as it could have ever been to all the people that want to see it. So I think Negan isn't void of that. I think he has seen it through Rick's eyes now. Hence why I think he came back. I think he came back because he knew that he doesn't know what his future holds and doesn't know if he'll have any part of it. He knows that what Rick's built is the best place to be right now. Which is, what an arc, what a turnaround. Do you know what I mean? The only thing I will say is, yes, I think he could be a crucial part of the community. Yes, I think that he could come full circle, and I think Judith will be huge in that, and I think there will be lots of people involved that are vital into the ongoing process of this, right? And whether he is around forever or whatever. The only thing that worries me is this new group. Now, this is almost a good transition point into the next Beyond the Wall. We won't get too much into it. But this new group is going to pose a big enough threat where perhaps that logic starts to come back. What is Negan fighting to protect, though? Maybe he has learnt to grow some kind of attachment to Judith. Maybe those promises of I'm never going to hurt anyone again, he can't keep. Maybe he has to protect things he cares about here now. You know, like, I don't know where that leads. Maybe our groups struggle to fight these new people. Maybe we don't want to do what Negan would do. And maybe a bit of his purpose is still looming out there. I'm not saying that he's fully detached from what he believed in, because at once upon a time he believed in it. Whatever good was in Negan pre-apocalypse, at some point was wiped away by that purpose. There is no doubt in my mind that that purpose could come back and wipe it all back away again. I genuinely feel like there may have even been a slight delusion in the way Negan thought. Okay, and that was affected by a whole bunch of different things. His wife passing, the need for what he thought was his purpose, okay? That can all come back. We haven't just clean slated him. It's not like his memory's been wiped and he's, been recoded. That coding is still there. Now, Rick's not around. I don't know, like, does Negan at any point consider him in charge himself? Like, I don't know. Like, would he overthrow someone? Would he do what he did when he tried to get, when he overthrew the person for the saviors? I don't know. I don't know. My gut's telling me that he's going to be more crucial to helping us survive what's coming than he is to helping us, to fighting us, or to being a problem. But the problem is still a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bit of this, you know. And actually, a little part of me even thinks that Judith might let him out. You know, if something goes wrong, or say something threatens Alexandria, like he's not just going to get left there. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think, like, look, my gut's telling me he can. That answers the question, yes? Do you think? Yes, so I've given my opinion. Do I think he could be a normal member of our group? Yes, I do. But I think the biggest thing will be about people accepting him. Not him accepting being a part of a group that isn't leading it, or isn't being a savior, or isn't being Negan. That's a whole different story. It's going to be everyone else and whether they're willing to move forward. Because that's a lot to move forward from. What's your thoughts on Negan? Do you think he's reformed or slowly reforming? The fact that he's willing to go back to Alexandria, even though Judith said that she didn't know what would happen to him, and blah, 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 he could have been executed, all these different things. Do I think he's basically reformed, or... Basically, I've kind of just answered that. I don't think he's all the way there. I still think there's probably a lot that needs to be explored in his character, but I don't know. It's huge that he went back. At the end of the day, this could be some massive switcheroo, and he's going back because he sees a community that he needs to run like Negan again. I mean, I doubt it, but hey, it's a possibility. But I'm leaning on the side that he is pretty far on the track of being reformed. I think him not having the weight of being Negan on his shoulders is bringing out what he should be. What I will say is this. I find some of his jokes funny now. He is growing on me, which I never in a million years thought I would say. Never in a million years, but like, the whole point of this Beyond the What is for me to get out to you guys and express the fact that so much has changed for me, so much has changed for him, so much has changed for us. I have a lot more patience for trying to understand him than I did. You know, there's so much going on up here. You know, like, I think another one of the big turning points for me was like, Negan, at multiple occasions could have killed Judith, could have killed Carl. You know, he could have done horrid things to Rick, but he didn't. Why is that? An evil man would have done those things. He's already kind of proven that he's not there to just ruin someone's life, you know what I mean? Like, he could have killed Rick from the start, for goodness sakes. I think he will be huge in what there is forward. But hey, God freaking knows. God knows, because season 7 was fucking traumatic, and that was only 2 seasons ago, when I was like blood-boiling hatred for the guy. And I think there is a little part of me, like, there's a little voice on my shoulder going, you fucking idiot. You absolute idiot for starting to trust someone who did what he did to us. But there's a little voice that's going, hey, I thought last episode you said that it was all about us and them. You would do what needed to be done to protect the people around you. Now, logically, right now, that would mean killing Negan. It would. You know, we've passed the stage where he would be used as a martyr. He would be seen as a martyr now, or whatever. You know, there aren't saviors out there anymore, at least not that I'm aware of. Although in saying that, we still have that lady and that dude that went to Alexandria. There's still a little bit, like I said, there's still parts of my brain that has these theories about how he got out in the goddamn first place. Maybe people want him back for what he was and he doesn't want that. Maybe someone's going to eventually push him over that ledge again. This is a dangerous place. The funny thing is I've been speaking a bit about delusion and people's mental states in this Beyond the Wall, and I think I've said most of what I need to say about Negan. But we're about to head into even weirder territory. Now, this isn't for this Beyond the Wall, guys, so if you have enjoyed this one, I hope I have said what needs to be said. I just rambled about Negan for almost half an hour. So if I haven't said what I've needed to say, goddamn. But anyway, we are moving on anyway to Alpha. I think that's what she goes. I don't know what her name is. I can't remember. If that's her name, whatever. We are going to move on to a little bit of a discussion about Lydia, Alpha, this new group, and that new side of things. You know, we've spoken about Negan. I'm not sure how much Negan's going to have and be involved about all this new stuff, but there is a new topic of discussion. So, guys, if you're watching this, that other one is probably already out or very close to being out. So don't forget to check that out, guys. It'll be called Alpha Beyond the Wall. We've had Negan Beyond the Wall, Alpha Beyond the Wall, and then the what's after that should theoretically be 9x11. I haven't watched it yet, so no spoilers, but that is the plan. But yeah, we've now been speaking for 26 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. If you enjoyed as ever, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for new content every single week. And of course, follow the Instagram, Daniel Reed with 2 Ds. Oh, for anyone that stuck around, Have a look at this bad boy. Sorry, I like my arm is naked. I'm a hairy person. Yeah. I've now got a naked piece of my arm with a nice fresh... I'm going to explain to you guys what it is. It is a mockingjay bird, which is more like the realistic... You know mockingjays are obviously not real. It's more like the realistic bird. There's an arrow, which is just like the Hunger Games, the circle, which I may eventually turn into a compass or like a hourglass thing. And then the number 269, which is an animal rights number. So the tattoo is basically representing animal rights and my push for veganism and going against the capital and fighting norms that shouldn't be norms and all these different things. But it's got a meaning to it. And eventually, my goal is to have ferns and leaves going round, like Ellie's knife along here. Maybe the moth up here. Yeah, I've got a lot of plans for that. But yeah, it's bloody cool if I must say. So I can't exactly, you guys don't exactly see it in the videos, but your boy's got a tattoo. And at some point, I want to get whoa. But I need to, like, figure out a design for that. Because I feel like if I just put "wah" somewhere random on my body, unless it's, like, on my wrist, that's a pretty random idea for a tattoo. But we'll see. Anyway, that's all from me, guys. As ever, thanks for watching. And I'll catch you in Alpha.